Yes, ballers, welcome back to the channel. Last weekend, we played at home against El Campello, a team that we had only drew to 0-0 in our first game of the season.
Good quality.
Now that we have played against all 15 teams in our division, it's time to complete the reverse fixtures. Since we had already played this team, we kind of knew what to expect going into the game. They were a team who like to go direct into one big striker and play off second and third balls. They may play one or two passes out into their centre back, their full back, maybe into their centre mid, but the majority of time, if our pressure would become too high, then they would just go direct into their striker. We knew that this was a very winnable game, and we also knew that we were a different force compared to the team that we were at the start of the season. As I've mentioned in previous videos, the progression within the team has been clear to see. So we arrived at our alternative home pitch, Luis Gomez, feeling pretty confident. We knew that if we earned the right to play, if we did what we needed to in 50-50 battles, in individual battles, as we hadn't done the week previously, then we would go and win this game. Right at the start of the game, we started off really bright. Richard picked up the ball in defensive midfield, and he played a great ball through to Olu, who was coming back from an injury and couldn't quite get onto the end of it to finish. But we exposed their backline very, very early on in the game, literally the first minute. So that gave us a lot of confidence that if we continued to play our game, we were going to get a positive result. In this match, our team really went back to basics and we decided to go for a 4-4-2. A lot of Spanish teams are pretty strong in the middle of the park, but are often fairly weak outside the pitch. Their fullbacks are often their weakest players, so playing a 4-4-2 allows us to stay compact in the middle of the pitch and play 4 versus 3, as often Spanish teams play a 4-3-3. For the majority of the game, we did this very well. We made it very, very difficult for the opposition to play through midfield, and as we expected, they resorted to a lot of long balls going direct into their striker or trying to hit channels. In that 4-4-2, I played in the left midfield position, and I was responsible for keeping the width when we had the ball and coming inside the pitch to make it difficult for the opposition to play through when we didn't have the ball. The great thing about playing on the left-hand side of midfield with Ethan behind me at left back is that we were able to link up a couple of times, as he is essentially a winger turned left back. There were 1 or 2 moments where we linked up nicely, and my position coming inside the pitch allowed him to keep the width and get beyond me. But unfortunately, with all of our positive play going forwards, El Campello were the team to score the first goal. I believe it was something, again, pretty simple, either from a corner or a throw-in, where the ball was allowed to bounce in the box. I tried to track my man to the first ball, but he ran off the back of me and got the second. We went in at half-time 0-0, despite having plenty of chances to score goals, despite having plenty of corners and plenty of opportunities to hurt the opposition. Myself and Ethan, the captain of our team, went into the dressing room and tried to have individual chats with people, lifting each other's heads and making us aware that that game was really there for the taking. We knew that if we stuck to our process and we started to finish chances, then we would win the game. Once again, we started the second half pretty bright, creating chances and putting the opposition under pressure. With about 10 minutes gone in the second half, the ball comes to Richard in the middle of the park. And usually he's our Busquets, he's our metronome. He sets the tone for the possession when we're playing out of the back. But today, he was more of a Smith Rowe, as he touched the ball inside, shaped to go to the far corner, and reversed it into the near post. At 1-1, we continued to create chances and we continued to push forwards, but really struggled to find that finishing product. And unfortunately, as a few teams in this league have decided to do in the past, El Campello decided to get really nasty in their challenges. Haroon, our right winger, was fouled so many times during the game and won us a good number of free kicks, but the frustrating thing for us is that we didn't convert them into any goals. With Dale needing to go off at half-time with an issue in his calf, Noah, playing right back, slotted in at centre back, and Jean came on at right back. After 20 or so minutes into the second half, their striker decided to elbow Noah right in the jaw. Somehow, everyone in the entire ground, the fans, our bench, their bench, saw what happened. The only person who didn't was the referee. With Noah lying on the floor holding his face, the referee says that he didn't see anything and doesn't even give the player a yellow. Not 3 minutes later, the same player does a similar thing to Jean and receives a yellow card for his action. He then substitutes himself off the pitch, saying that his head is getting too hot to stay on. Not long after that, Ethan receives a kick from their right winger as he's seeing the ball out from a throw. An incredibly late challenge with no intention for the ball. Finally, the referee brings out his red card. We feel like El Campello are getting what they deserve, but the real justice in the game would be for us to go on and win it. We keep pushing on, we continue to create chances. At one point, Raf takes an incredible first touch on his chest and volleys it through to our right winger Haroon. Still at 1-1, still pushing for a goal, at 80 minutes in against 10 men, myself and Raf come off the pitch for McKeith and Henry. Everyone in our team knows that these players can create problems for the opposition, and Henry does exactly that straight away, getting on the ball and looking like the right-footed Mesut Ozil as he glides past players. Not long after he comes on, he gets an opportunity 1v1 with the keeper, tries to go round him, but the keeper pulls out a great save, and all of us have our head in our hands knowing that that was the moment that we could have made it 2-1. We continue to push on, with Ethan getting a chance from a deflected cross as he's now playing left wing, but unable to steer it on target. With only 2 minutes of the game to go, from a corner, the ball hits Noah on the arm, El Campeo get a penalty, and they score. Everyone on the bench put their head in their hands. There were 2 minutes left to play. The game was pretty much up, and it felt like the least deserved loss of the entire season. In the past, we've lost against teams who we knew we could beat, but we played badly. We didn't deserve it. This was a loss that we really didn't feel like we deserved. But after the game, our manager Dean had absolutely no sympathy for us. It was the first time in the entire season that he really lay into us in the changing room. The reason being was that our Friday training session was incredibly poor. We started off the session doing a simple passing pattern, which would end in a cross and a finish, and passes to feet were bobbling, they were going astray, first touches were loose, and the quality and the care of the football really was not there. Personally, I found it a really frustrating session. I know Ethan did too, and Dean essentially told us that we got what we deserved. If we don't take care of the ball in training, if we don't do the simple things to an excellent level, how can we assume that we're going to win a match on the weekend? And that's exactly what happened during the match. Yes, we created chances, yes, we played well, but when it came to doing the one thing you need to do to win games, putting the ball in the back of the net, we came up short so many times. Having said that, it definitely isn't an easy environment to play in when the other team are playing MMA and you're trying to play football. But to be honest, that thought did little to console any of us after the game, when we knew it was the game we should have won, and we knew that we let a very dirty team get away with 3 points. So, another frustrating game to tell you about, ballers. I honestly thought that we were past this point. But I think it just goes to show that in football, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you see through to the end. And that is not something that we did last weekend. Yes, we can use a showcase match in Madrid, the 5-hour bus journey there and back as an excuse, but really, we know that we're better than that team. There is no learning in excuses. There is no learning in dodging responsibility or accountability for your mistakes. I hope that any L's you take this week, you find a way to review, reflect on, and turn them into lessons. Ballers find a way.
What are you doing?